ANA eLearning Academy is brought to you by CDN Graysheet, a trusted source of rare coin and currency valuations since 1963.
Happy summer seminar, everyone. Obviously, it's not the summer seminar that we would like, but we're making do here. And thank you for joining us at the ANA's eLearning Academy. I'm Andy Dickus. I'm here at ANA headquarters in Colorado Springs. I'd like to thank the Graysheet for their continued sponsorship of our eLearning Academy. For those of you who have been out here for summer seminar, the actual physical thing, you know that it's not quite the same here in Zoom land. And I would encourage everyone to at least consider joining us next year. For those of you who have been to summer seminar, who are on here today, everybody knows that it's a real fun 2 weeks for everyone here at the ANA and all who join us. Today's presentation is on Romano-Companian coinage. Dr. Scott Rottinghouse is a longtime summer seminar instructor. A long time ago, he was actually Young Numismatist of the Year at the ANA. And he is a noted expert on Roman coins. So without further ado, Scott, take it away.
Thanks so much, Andy, for that introduction. I was really just enjoying seeing the list of participants here a few minutes ago. I can't see it now because I'm sharing my own slides, but a lot of old friends are on the line, and people who have taken and in fact taught this class in the past. So you know, they may be a little disappointed to see stuff they already know, but I'm hoping to give a nice overview here of the very first Roman coins, and hopefully make it as much of a nice taste of the real summer seminar in person in Colorado Springs as I can. I've been attending summer seminars for decades. My first one was in 1987, and it's always been a really wonderful experience for me. And so for those who haven't been there in person, I hope that I can see you there soon. So my goal here today, as I said, is to kind of discuss again the first Roman coins. There was a presentation on the ANA eLearning Academy about the cast bronze coins, Aires Formata, Ais Grave, etc. That was done here, I think, a couple of months ago. And so I'm not going to go deeply into those. And I thought for today I would focus a little more on the struck coins of Rome that look a little bit more like the coins you're used to in the modern world today, and focus a little bit less on the bronzes. But to back up, everyone knows that you know, Rome was founded, traditionally people say in 753 BC by Romulus and Remus. The city probably existed a few centuries before that, and coins were invented in Asia Minor in the 7th century BC. Rome itself was actually very slow to adopt coins. Pliny says that that Servius Tullius, who is I think the 6th king of Rome, during the 6th century BC, actually started making bronze coins, by which Pliny's referring to the large cast bronze coins that were used in central Italy. Archaeological evidence suggests that is completely wrong, and that those coins came quite a lot later, which is to say in the early 3rd century BC. However, there may be a grain of truth to what Pliny is talking about in terms of you know, bronze money being the big medium of exchange in central Italy, perhaps from the 6th century BC onwards. And I don't have it on the slides, but I do have a couple of large examples of ice rude. There's an example, just a piece of bronze. Ice is the Roman word for, or the Latin word for bronze. Rude, rough. So you can see this is just a random rough piece of bronze that the Romans would have used for money back in those times. They would have traded by weight. If you have something expensive to buy, I suppose you would have had to bring a large wheelbarrow full of bronze. And those bronzes evolved over time. You probably know the story, into kind of more shaped things like this disc, which is still an ice rude, but some people call them aeres formata. Again, a formed bronze. And then maybe even a little later into these bars. This is a fragment of a ramo secco bar that has a like little rough branch on it. And then this is actually a picture of a dolphin on that side. And you can maybe see a little dolphin here on the other side. So these sometimes have rudimentary design, and that kind of evolves a little bit later, again by the late 4th or early 3rd century, into the ice signatum, or aeres signata as a plural. Here's a little fragment of one. This would normally be a big bar, and you can see, and this should have a bull on it. You can just see two legs there, and the same on the other side. These are very rare, so challenging to get a full one. I have a little corner, and then ultimately, again, contemporaneous with the talk on Romano-Campanian coins, into the real ice graue, or the heavy bronzes. And there you can see the classic coin with Janus on the obverse and the prow of a ship on the reverse. So I just show you some of these for completeness. Again, they're kind of outside the scope of our talk, but they're important from a contextual perspective, because the Romans, again, were using these big bronze coins locally, and they didn't have any silver or gold or token bronze coins, little struck bronze coins, until late in the 4th century BC. And that's what we're going to start talking about today, in terms of what are the first Roman coins, and what do they really look like. So Pliny tells us also that the Romans didn't use any coins, or I should actually say any silver coins, before the Pyrrhic Wars, which were about 280 BC, so before the defeat of King Pyrrhus. So, but it seems clear from archaeological evidence that even the first silver didrachms are from the end of the 4th century BC. So I think that the literary sources for this era in regard to numismatics are very scant and not very reliable. Michael Crawford, in his standard reference on Roman Republican coins, goes to substantial lengths to try to line up his dating scheme with something like what Pliny is trying to say. And I think it gets him off track and a bit too late on these coins. So to actually show you a coin on the slide set, I'm gonna move into this one. Crawford again lists this as the first Roman coin. And what this coin is, it's very rare. It's actually a coin of Neapolitan type and fabric. So it's a little tiny Neapolitan bronze coin with normal types, a female head, or maybe a head of Apollo on the obverse, and a man-headed bull on the reverse. This one always has a a star on the bowl. And the inscription on the Neapolitan issue says Neapolitone, or of the Neapolitans. That's kind of the form that's called the ethnic. So it's a genitive plural describing the people who issued it. But this one has an interesting substitution. And what you would see here, if you could see the whole inscription, would be a rho, omega, mu, alpha, iota, omega, nu, Romaion, of the Romans. Yet we have a little Neapolitan coin with this remarkable inscription on it in Greek. The thinking is that this coin was issued around the time of the foedus aequum, or a kind of peace treaty or an alliance treaty in 326 BC. And it's kind of a commemorative or alliance issue, as we might say, in the world of Greek coinage. Again, there are, maybe 20 of these in existence. So very rare coin. This is one that CNG sold a number of years ago and ultimately ended up in the RBW collection that was sold by NAC in their sale 61 a number of years ago. So so this is what people usually think of as the first Roman coin. Again, hard to imagine these really circulating, and it seems clear that this wouldn't have made any sense in a Central Italian Roman monetary system where people have gigantic pieces of bronze like this. So this is clearly a part of the Neapolitan monetary system, the monetary system of Naples. And that's why we call these Romano-Campanian coins. So Neapolis, or Naples, is down in the region of Rome called Campania. And these are the coins that are made either by Romans or by Roman allies or agents in the Campania for circulation, presumably initially around Naples and later around other cities that were originally founded by Greeks in southern Italy, down along the coasts, where coinage had been known for centuries prior. Again, I find it very remarkable that on the coasts, gold and especially silver coins and token bronze coins could be in use, but up at Rome, nothing. So let's look at some of the other early Roman coins. This is the first Roman coin that was made in substantial numbers. There's one other extremely rare bronze coin that says Romano on it in Latin, that's part of the Neapolitan series. Crawford lists that as the second coin, but it's only known by one example. This one, in contrast, is relatively common. And so this is a didrachm or didrachma on a Neapolitan weight standard. This coin weighs about 7.29 grams, and it looks like a Greek coin. We see a picture of a bearded Hercules on the obverse, maybe a bit reminiscent of Leucippus on Metapontine coins. And the reverse has a horse's head. Looks a lot like later Carthaginian coins that have a horse's head, although this is a earlier Roman type. David Vaghi, whose name I saw on the phone, wrote a really interesting article characterizing this as the head of the October equus, or the October horse, which I think is a really nice and fitting theory for what this could represent. In any case, I dated this as after 326. Crawford puts it as late as 280 because he's trying to align it with Pliny's quote. But again, it's clear that it's from the late 4th century. Hard to figure out exactly what the event would have been that prompted this. Again, the earliest potential is the foedus aequum with Naples in 326. Crawford, in a later work, his coinage in Italy in the Mediterranean economy, connected it with the building of the Via Appia from Rome to Capua between about 312 and 308. But in any case, I think you can safely say this is a late 4th century coin. Again, the types I kind of went through. There's a grain ear behind the horse, again, that kind of fits it with a Campanian origin. And the inscription is Romano, which is presumably a shortening of Romanorum, or of the Romans. And you're going to see on these first several Romano-Campanian coins, the inscription is consistently Romano. Again, the Roman ethnic written out in Latin and abbreviated. I've never come to a satisfactory explanation of why they didn't write Romanorum in full, as I would have expected a Greek city to do. But here we have it, Romano. And again, this is the first broadly circulating Roman coin, nice silver coin in pure silver on a Neapolitan weight standard. Here is a fraction of this coin. It's actually not Crawford's 13.2, which has a bearded Hercules on the obverse, but it instead has Minerva on the obverse and the horse's head on the reverse, again with the inscription Romano going around the horse. You can see on the right side of this, on the reverse, the A and O very clearly. This is a unique coin that came up in an Artemides sale a couple of years ago. Very light, 0.6 of a gram, but you can see that the weight standard would fit very nicely with an obol. 0.6 of a gram. There are 6 obols in a dram, so that would give you a dram of about 3.6 grams. Multiply it by 2, and you'd get 7.2 grams, which is very consistent with this coin that we just looked at. So these fractions, again, the other fraction of this coin or of this issue, 13.2, is vanishingly rare, as is this. But I thought it would be kind of fun to show a picture of this coin since I had it. Moving to the next issue of diagrams, seems that although the previous issue, Crawford 13, was very common and circulated pretty extensively in Campanian contexts, and is sometimes found in hoards with local Neapolitan coins and other Greek coins from southern Italy, we don't see another new issue of diagrams for a number of years. This one is dated around 275 BC. The conventional dating of these coins, it's again very clear the sequence of the coins, because you can figure out which one came first from hoard evidence. It's much more challenging to actually figure out the absolute dating. People date these according to the censors. The censors are 2 officials who seem to have been in charge of the issuance of coins before the triumviri monetales were established late in the 3rd century BC. So at this early date, you can see this rather pleasant coin. The design is one of my favorites in the Roman series. Again, the devices and the fabric seem very Greek. You see a head of Apollo on the obverse and a prancing horse with a star on the reverse. Really quite an attractive coin. And then the inscription again on the obverse, Romano, identifying the issuers of this coin. Again, this is not a coin that was circulating in central Italy around Rome. It's a coin that was circulating in the Greek cities in southern Italy. Around this time, Rome was beginning to develop actual cast bronze coins. This is from late in the century rather than early in the century, but I showed it to you a minute ago. Again, this is a coin that weighs the better part of a pound, that they would have used in their circulation in Rome, as opposed to these smaller silver coins that were circulating in other places in Italy, presumably to facilitate trade with Rome. Here are, I'm going to show you this one and another one, which are a couple of token bronze coins. Again, with the inscription Romano. You can't see it very well on this one, but here's the AMANO of Romano. And this has a female head facing right on the obverse and a lion walking to the right on the reverse, looking back. Some people believe he's actually pulling a spear out of his front paw. And on some specimens, you actually can see a bit of a spear here, which is kind of interesting. So kind of nice little coin. And let's see, what else do we have to say here? It's unclear whether this is actually a fraction of the didrachm that I just showed you or its own issue, but presumably the two would have circulated side by side in a ratio that's not absolutely clear. Let me see if I can get down to the next slide. There we go. This is also fairly contemporary, and this is a very common little bronze coin with a head of either Minerva or Roma on the obverse and the horse's head on the reverse, now with the inscription Romano behind the head. This is very similar to a local coin that was made in Cosa that has the same design, but the inscription Cosano behind it, or around it, actually, in the case of this coin. And you can collect all kinds of varieties of these. Some have the inscription on the obverse, some on the reverse, some on both sides, right to left, left to right. It's kind of interesting. I'm unsure what proportion of these are really official versus imitative. The quality is not great, but you can see that by this time there is a substantial struck bronze token coinage with Roman legends on it going on in southern Italy, while at the same time, again, the Romans themselves don't use these coins locally, and instead favor their own big cast bronzes. Okay, moving here to the third issue of didrachms. This is the first coin that, or the first Romano-Campanian coin, I should say, that Crawford identifies as coming from the mint of Rome. And we can maybe tie this to Pliny's description, and he calls out the year 269 BC as the year that the Romans introduced the denarius, their main silver coin. Again, it's clearly the wrong year. They started coining denarii sometime between 214 and 211. It's a Second Punic War coin, not nearly as early as this one from the earlier part of the 3rd century BC. But I do like the date of 269 for this one, and the identification with the Mint of Rome. And it seems particularly suitable given the wolf and twins on the reverse with the legend Romano. And there's a beardless Hercules on the obverse. I think I called Mars Hercules on an earlier coin, and I apologize for that. But there's a beardless Hercules. So around this time then, we are moving toward having a silver coinage that's actually used by Romans in Rome. By the second half of the 3rd century, it seems very clear that the Romans are using these coins fairly consistently, but alongside their cast bronzes. So again, this is the first coin potentially made in Rome of the Romano-Campanian series. I really like this one. Another favorite design of mine. This is the coin of the First Punic War. So it's a didrachm from the range of kind of the 260s to the 240s. We're now down to a standardized weight standard that you'll see used for the rest of the full silver weight didrachm. It's a 6 scripula standard. So the theoretical weight of these coins would be about 6 3/4 grams, and they seem to hold fairly consistent to that. The earlier coins you can see vary a little bit. They're heavier. So this one is 7 grams. You saw that the earlier didrachms I was showing you were about 7 1/4. But this coin has a nice rendering of Roma, or maybe probably Roma on the obverse. Also, I guess, a potential for Minerva. She has a cornucopia behind her head on this one. Although I shouldn't say although, other dies have other symbols on them. So people go and collect symbols on the obverse of this coin and then control marks on the reverse. You can see this one has a T, or it's actually a Greek letter tau. It's 1 or 2 Greek letters as the control symbols on the reverse. Here's a lovely depiction of victory, and she has a palm branch or other little tree type thing that she's putting a wreath on. And again, the inscription is here as Romano, of the Romans. And this is a fairly common coin, made in higher numbers than the previous ones, apparently. And again, this was the standard silver coin of Rome, and in fact around Italy, that was made around the time of the Second Punic War. This is an interesting bronze coin. Apologies for the miserable condition, but it's rare. You can see here Minerva on the obverse, and this is an eagle, if you can kind of make it out. There's the head of the eagle looking backwards. So there's his beak and his eye and his body, and there's one wing and the other wing, and it says Romano around the outside. And then here on the obverse, again, you can see Romano. This is conventionally said to be a coin of the Mamertini that was issued at Messana in 264 as a harbinger of the beginning of the First Punic War. There is a recent article from, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago by Andrew McCabe and Andrew Burnett that that kind of debunks this theory that this is actually a coin of the Mamertini, but still a bronze token fraction of the Romano didrams. Again, rare in this case, and this is the last time actually you're going to see the inscription Romano on a coin. Subsequent Roman coins shorten Romano to Roma. It seems kind of like it would make sense to do so because that's the name of the city, Roma. But it's kind of unusual actually, because Greeks tended to put the name of their city and the name of people, in fact, on coins in genitive case, of the person, of the city. So it's not absolutely clear that Roma, at least initially, is intended as a word in nominative case versus an abbreviation. But certainly as time goes by and every Roman coin says Roma, it's fairly clear that that's just the nominative name of the city, Rome. And you can actually see here at the bottom of the reverse here, this is Roma. There's no NO, you couldn't see it from this die, but it's just Roma. And this is the first issue of didrachm, this from starting around 241 BC, where we just see Roma on the coin. There's Mars again on the obverse. This time he has no beard, and the reverse shows a very nice horse's head, a more realistic presentation than that earlier horse's head didrachm I showed you, and a sickle behind it on the reverse. And you can tell at this point in the 240s BC that there is clearly a relationship between the aequum, which are the big heavy bronzes, and the bronze fractions and the silver, because they use this sickle. And later I'm going to show on as a symbol on the coins, so they're all related. Similarly, I'll show you in a little bit a series of coins that has a club that's repeated on every denomination. So the monetary system is now becoming integrated across silver and bronze and across the struck coins and the cast coins. Here's a dram, a fairly common coin, much rarer than the didrachm, but fairly common coin. And again, with the same designs. And again, you can see this little sickle on the reverse behind the horse's head. So there's the didrachm, and here's the associated dram, the silver fraction. Here we can see a coin that is still of this issue. Again, see the same design on the reverse. We call it a litra. We don't know what the Romans actually called it. Again, we don't have literary evidence to fit with these coins, but it's clearly a token bronze fraction of the silver coins that I just showed you. Here's the next issue of didrachm, a nice image of Apollo on the obverse and the prancing horse's back on the reverse, now with the inscription Roma. Again, this is a coin of the 230s BC, another really pleasant design, still a very Greek fabric. You know, they were probably employing Greek die cutters, but we assume at this point that the coins are being made at Rome and not Neapolis. Here is a very rare fraction of that last coin. This is a dram. I'm not sure if people frequently recognize the rarity of this, but there are probably only a couple of dozen of these in existence. Major museum collections seem to have one, and otherwise they're challenging to find. This is the coin that came from the famous RBW and Nicholas collections. Again, pretty beat up, but we can also see all the key elements of the design here. Again, here's a bronze fraction that goes with those last two coins, the didrachm, dram, and the bronze fraction, or litra, as we're calling it here. Same design as the others, with the word Roma down below the horse on this one. And then this fraction here presumably also goes with that group. There's a nice picture of Minerva on the obverse, and a dog walking to the right on the reverse, with the inscription Roma in the exurg. All right, so here I'm going to show you the last issue of the didrachm before we get to the quadrigatus, which is in fact a didrachm of in its own right as well, but the fabric is going to change substantially at that point. So here is a beardless Mars with a club. Remember, I talked about the club as being a symbol that brings brings a series of coins together. Club on the obverse and a club on the reverse, with a prancing horse and the inscription Roma below again. So there's a very nice example of this didrachm. There's not actually a dram of this issue, but there are fractions. So here's a coin in miserable condition that I managed to at least find to illustrate. Often these token bronzes come in really bad condition, but you can obviously find this better. Again, same design. There's the club and the prancing horse. And then here we have a very nice double litra. Again, probably not the name that the Romans called this thing, but there's Hercules with his club on his shoulder, and there's the little symbol, a club symbol above a Pegasus, which is a rather nice design element to see on a coin, and the inscription Roma. Okay. And the last coin I'm going to show you, this is actually my last slide, is just a typical example of a quadrigatus. I'm not going to go through them. The quadrigatus actually is the name of the last didrachm, which was the Roman coin for most of the Second Punic War. Struck down until the time of the introduction of the denarius around 212 BC. It's called a quadrigatus just because it has Jupiter in a quadriga driven by victory on the reverse. So it's a coin that's named by its design. But again, whether the Romans typically used the word quadrigatus, I do think it appears in literary contexts, or if they typically called these didrachmae, or just nomoi, or coins, or the Latin word numi or numus is probably a more likely moniker. So the didrachm has fractions. So there is a silver dram that goes with it, and there is actually a very rare obol, similar to the second slide or the third slide I showed you, where there was a tiny fraction as well. And this coin is different than the previous ones in that it's a lovely coin, but the fabric has evolved. So now it's a broader coin. It's not as rounded in its fabric. You can see that these previous ones look very much, what am I trying to pull? I'm a little bit slow, sorry for that. This looks very much like a Greek coin. And if you could see it, if I could show it to you in person and show you the edge, very rounded, very thick coin. You could feel like a Greek die cutter may have made this in the earlier ones. The quadrigatus has a very Roman character to it. and it evolves nicely into the denarius, which is the coin that replaces it during the Second Punic War in, again, I said between 214 and 211 BC. Let's call it 212, when the quadrigatus got very debased and reduced in weight due to Roman challenges during that war, and they needed to completely revamp the monetary system. So that is kind of my summary of the first Roman coins. Again, not really meant to be an academic presentation, but more of a teaser for the summer seminar. And I hope that we have the opportunity to get together in the not too distant future and actually have a chance to discuss these things. I actually just pulled up the Q&A, and I see that Susan asked me a question. Where did the silver come from? So actually, this is an excellent question, because there weren't silver mines in central Italy, right? There is some silver in southern Italy, but my guess would be that it is recycled from other coins or come from, could be new source silver, but not a big silver source like the Athenian mines at Laurium or anything like that. And I don't know if anybody has done any metallurgical studies on the early didrams to see if there's any signatures of mines or sources or anything like that. But I do think that's a cool question. I'm eager to hear others if you'd like to discuss.
Yes, does anyone else have a question for Scott? No one? Well, you did your job well, I guess, Scott.
Well, typically, as I say, we sit in a seminar room, pass coins around, either from the ANA collection or private collections, and get off on big tangents. And I enjoy having tangents when I have the opportunity. And we certainly have a fun numismatic and social time.
Yeah, we here at the ANA Midsummer Seminar too. So for those of you who have not joined us yet out here, we hope to see you next year. For those who have, we look forward to seeing you again. We also look forward to seeing as many people as we can at our coin show coming up in August 10th through the 14th in Rosemont, a suburb of Chicago. So please make plans to join us for that event. Thank you, Scott, as always.
Thanks, Andy, and thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you for everyone for joining us at the ANA's eLearning Academy. Once again, I would like to thank the Gray Sheet for their continued sponsorship of our eLearning program. Again, join us for seminar next year. August, we've got a great show, coin show coming up, and join us for future presentations as well. Thank you.